Same person, different hair. This video is about load capacity, permission to rest, and how that relates to autism. May have a um, I may have a mild the thing is, here's the thing, like I question myself almost every day if I actually have this, like if I'm not just wearing someone's mental condition as my costume, because I'm very high performing and I've never been questioned if I have this, and I'm capable and not the stereotype. But when I read the criteria for this, I cannot help but to feel like a sense of relief because finally something completely explains why I am the way I am. And still, I can't help but to wonder, like literally almost every day, what if it's just my personality that happens to coincide with the characteristics of autism, such as the need for structure, the need for precision, a very sort of rigid system, really hard time with change in certain aspects, etc. First, I'm going to talk about the phrase load capacity, and I'm going to read what I have here on paper. So, load capacity, or the cognitive load, is how much your brain is holding, tracking, deciding, suppressing, or managing at once. And for the autistic brain, by the way, I am ready to get diagnosed. But also it's like, is it really true? Because I have heard stories where the diagnosis is really just like without any basis. Anyway, the autistic brain often carries unspoken rules, moral accounting, and a lot of sensory regulation and self-monitoring. So there are things that I'm quote unquote not supposed to do. By that I mean, like, there are certain things that's dangerous for me to do, or just not, let's just call them harmful things. And in the past, before I discovered this phrase and understanding of load capacity, a phrase as simple as, I forgot I couldn't XYZ. Okay, that makes sense, but it didn't resonate with me the same way as what I'm about to say, which is, when my load capacity reaches a maximum, I lose access to the stored information of, I can't do this. I lose access to my principles and values. And I feel like it's super important for someone on the autism spectrum to have their actions and behaviors align with their principles and virtues. So I forget isn't necessarily true. It's more that when my hard drive is running at 700 miles an hour, I just cannot access all these information. So it's important to have like a piece of paper, like you literally offload these information, like in a voice memo, in another place where you can see that and hear that and reach for that when the load capacity is unable to give you the information, when the access literally drops. Okay, now let's talk about the second part, which is permission to. I have a little bit more information than I did like 5 days ago. So about 5 days ago, I discovered I literally need permission. And supposedly that's another autistic thing. Like, it feels like we don't have a manual. It feels like everyone else has received a manual about life, how to do life 101, but we haven't. And that's, yeah, the manual of what to do. So I think the society has either directly told me or sent me information that it's good, honorable, and badass to work as much as you want. However, I did not receive a clear message that it's important to rest. And let me emphasize, it's not only important to rest, it is, in fact, mandatory to rest. And I didn't know that. I didn't know that a week ago, that rest is mandatory. I feel like that is like groundbreaking for my system. And when I say system, honestly, I feel like I just heard some beeping, like car honking outside. I'm very sensitive to audio, by the way, like audio sensory. Okay, I forgot where I was now. One moment. So going back to load capacity, the autistic brain is always scanning for impact and cost and optimal and doing things, I think, as best as we can. And that takes a toll, and it's really like a dangerous relief when I engage in a harmful activity. Like, it's relief, but it's not contained relief. It's not safe for me to engage in relief that erases me. So, a couple of things I've been doing for resting is, well, one, like, go in your bed for 10 minutes. No devices, just lie in your bed for 10 minutes. That's super helpful. I feel like the important takeaway here for autistics who struggle with addictive behavior or self-sabotaging behavior, and I also want to mention this, like, self-sabotaging behavior that I have engaged in was sort of like an unauthorized way to rest. Like, I needed to rest, but I didn't know that I needed to rest. Or I was afraid to rest because I was afraid that 10 minutes of rest can lead to 12 hours of binge watching my favorite, or I don't even like those like stupid TV shows. So I'm afraid to rest, and not resting led me to reach my maximum capacity in my cognitive load, which just leads to just forgetting. Like, it's the pattern. So it's less about resisting and more about engineering an environment where resistance is not needed or very little needed. Like, reduce the need for resistance. That's the goal of creating that sort of environment. I hope this video helps just one person. I saw one new follower yesterday, and that's all that matters. Okay, bye-bye.